Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do the third and final part of this project. Once you get through this and you get some answers correct, you're all done for my class, assuming you passed a couple other marking periods in there as well. Okay, so up until now for this project, we've been looking at creating our own equations and getting them ready for the calculator. So what happens when we actually have things ready for the calculator and they've been graphed? How do we read a graph? So let's start with 28 with some review. Okay, the graph of f of t models the height in feet that a bee is flying above the ground with respect to the time it traveled in t seconds. So bees are so out this year. Let's say instead of a bee, it's a murder hornet. Let's look at what we have here. On the bottom axis, we have the time in seconds. That's on your x-axis. Sometimes they use the letter x instead of the letter x. What letter are they using? If you said t, you're correct. Not only do we have time on the bottom, but up and down we have our height in feet. That's on your y-axis. Instead of y, they're using f for feet, I guess. So let's answer some questions on this graph. So question 1, at 2 seconds, the height is, here's how you do this. I'm going to look for 2 seconds on my graph. Now this might be tricky because there's two 2's on my graph. There's a 2 for the height, there's a 2 for the seconds. If they say 2 seconds, you're looking at the 2 over here. So at 2 seconds, our height is, there's a missing number there. But if this is 2 and this is 0, what does this have to be? If you said 1, you are correct, and I'm going to put the unit foot, 1 foot. Let's do another one. Okay. At 14 seconds, the height is, here's how you do it. You find 14 seconds, you go to the height, and that would be 2 feet. Let's do one more. How long did it take for the hornet to reach 4 feet? Here's how you do this one. It's a little bit different. If they're asking how long, but they give you 4 feet, you go to 4 first, and then go down to the time, and that would be 10 seconds. Let's look at a graph that has 2 things on it. The graph below models the cost of renting video games with a membership in Plan A and Plan B. So let's look at what information they give us. So they labeled Plan A, it starts on the top, and then Plan B starts on the bottom. We have the number of games down here, and then we have the cost in dollars over here. Number of games is your x-axis, cost is your y-axis. All right, now let's answer some questions. What is the point of intersection? First of all, what does intersection mean? Feel free to Google it. The intersection is where the lines cross. So we go to see that point where they cross, which is right there, and I need an x and a y. Now to find the x, I just have to draw a line down to my x. Now let's see, we are missing a number here, but this is going by 2's. So 16, 18, what would the next one be? You said 20, you are correct. To get the other coordinate, I start at my point of intersection, go to the y, I have 60, and then I'm missing a number. If this is 60 and this is 80, 70 would be right in the middle, so this is going by 5's. What would my y value be? If you said 65, you're correct. So once we have our numbers, we can actually talk about what does that even mean? What does the point of intersection mean? And when they say context of the problem, they mean please use the words that they give you, like games and cost and Plan A and Plan B. Here's what you do. If they ask for a meaning, use the numbers themselves. 20 what? Well, 20 went with the X value, so that would be 20 games. 65 what? $65. And we're going to fill in a little bit more just to make this sound like an actual sentence. So 20 games will cost $65. Now, for which company does 20 games cost $65? If you said for both plans, you're correct, because a point of intersection is where something's happening for both. It's really your solution. So let's do another one. This is review. I'm going to run through this quickly. We did this like twice already. We have the Brown family and the Peckham family. X is going to be the price of a child's ticket. Y is the price of an adult's ticket. So we're going to set up a system of equations, and we're going to use X and Y, which will come in handy for when we graph later. So we need two equal signs, one for the Brown family, one for the Peckham family. Our first total was 170. Our second total was 360. For the Brown family, 3 children. 3 children is 3x. 2 adults is 2y. What would be the expression for the Peckham family, considering there's 4 children and 6 adults? If you said 4 children is 4x and 6 adults is 6y, you are correct. Now what we want to do is get these ready for the calculator, get y by itself. Luckily, we had already done that last week. Okay, now we are ready to graph. I'm going to breeze through this since I know you don't have calculators, but you could use your apps. I use my graphing calculator app. Plug it in, graph looks like that. Hit second graph, plot my points. Now the first point I wanted to plot was 0, 85. Now the next point I want to plot is not 83.5, no decimals. Even looking at this one, 82, I don't really see an 82 here. I can guess, but the next point I want to plot is going to be 75, 70, 65, something like that. So I have to go all the way down to where x is 10 until I find the next point I want to plot. And I just keep scrolling down in my table, get 3 or 4 points to plot, and then I'm going to grab a ruler and draw my line. Our second graph looks like this in the calculator. And the first point I want to plot is 0, 60, which ends up right there. I don't really want to plot 358, so I'm going to wait till I get to 1550. That's easier to plot. Keep plotting until you feel good about drawing your straight line and labeling. Okay, so we have our 2 lines graphed here. Do we see an intersection? Yes, and they're going to ask you all about that. So state the coordinates of the point of intersection, which is right there. What's my x and y? If you said 30, 40, you are correct. Explain what each coordinate means. So please use the numbers 30 and 40 when you explain what each coordinate means. If you said 30 is the cost of a child's ticket, we know that because 30 is down there for child's ticket and 40 is the cost of an adult ticket. So that would be a sample explanation. Okay, let's do another one. This one I already filled out for you. If you remember, we have our Central High School. So they have a swim team. The swim team had 5 members and then increased by an average of 10 members per year. So that's your 10x. Chorus had 35 members and they increased by 5 members per year. So we already have these ready for the calculator, so we're going to go ahead and graph those. Looks like this. So explain in detail what each coordinate of the point of intersection of these equation means. And so it sounds like really complicated. You see the word intersection. What are the coordinates of that intersection? So if you said 6, 65, you are correct. Now what does that mean? 6 what? 65 what? What do you think? So you could say something along the lines of, in 6 years, the swim team and chorus had 65 members. Okay, let's do one more. So we have 2 landscaping companies. Let's call them the Yankees company and the Mets company. I know you probably miss sports right now, so do I. So the Yankees company charges a flat rate of $120 per hour. It's going to look like that. The Mets company charges $70 per hour plus $1,600 equipment fee. What do you think that's going to look like to fill in for our Mets equation? If you said 70H plus 1600, you're correct. Those are ready for the calculator. Let's look at the graph. Okay, so I have all the information you need right here on this graph. Let's answer some questions. How many hours would they have to work until the total cost is the same for both companies? Give you a hint? There's your hint. So if you said 32 hours, you're correct, because that's where the lines intersect. Okay, which company costed $3,000 after 20 hours? Here's how you do that. You draw your line at 3,000. Look to see which company is at 20. Well, I look at my 20 here. That's for that line right there. Go up to my METs. So I'm going to say METs. Okay, last one. Which company is a better deal if you want 25 hours of work? I'll give you a hint. 25 is right there in between 20 and 30. So which company is a better deal? So I go up from 20. Which one is cheaper? That's the lower one, which is your Yankees. It'll cost less money. Okay, so that was super fun. That's all I got for you. Please complete all 3 parts of the project. There's my contact info. Send me an email, give me a text or a call, and have a great summer. Hopefully you don't have too much to do besides relax and have fun.